we're going to find the date and time that a post from LinkedIn was posted in a Google Sheet. This is pretty cool. It's a small little project. It uses AppScript. It's based on code that I found on GitHub from another small web app from a few years ago. It's not that complicated, although it may look that way. And let's just get into it. So let's say we've got a post right here, and all LinkedIn will tell us is that it's 4 days ago, 5 days ago, whatever, once it's outside of that last 24-hour period. So I'm going to copy the link to this post. I'm going to come over here. Let's delete what we've already got in here, and let's say, here's our post. Then down here in the green, once I select find date, it's going to run the script and say, hey, that was posted at 7:45 a.m. back on August the 1st. Now, how is it doing this? Well, it's pretty neat. Like I said, it's based on Ollie Boyd's timestamp extractor web app, and his does the same thing over here on a web app version where you get the uploaded date. However, it just gives us in the UTC format. So I wanted to convert it both so I could use it in a Google Sheet as well as have the current date and time from the time zone of the Google Sheet itself. Okay, let's hop into the apps script. So go to extension app script, and you can see all of the code here that we're working with. The first thing we're doing is just adding an onOpen menu right here. So that's what creates this LinkedIn post date with find date text right there. And the find date is the text, but it's actually running the getDate function. And that's going to be down at the bottom of this script here in a second. The other functions involved are getPostID, and this is actually grabbing from a named range post URL in our spreadsheet. It's grabbing that LinkedIn URL. So here in our spreadsheet in B2, you can see from this name box, I've got post URL as, it's not B2, it's B1. I've got post URL as B1's named range, and then I've got post date as B2's named range. So the URL is going to go in B1 and the date's going to go in B2. Makes it easier to reference in the app script over here. So that's what we're doing right here. We're just grabbing the value of what's in B1 in that post URL named range. Then we're going to be using some regular expressions. So that's what this line's doing right here. It's just grabbing some regex, and the post ID const that it's creating on the next line is using that regex to pop out those 19 digits that are in a row. So if that doesn't make any sense to you, look inside this URL, and we've got 19 digits in all these URLs. This is the post ID, and from this, it's encoding a lot of stuff. So this is a certain format of a number that's encoded with the date and time. And we'll get into that right here. So we have what's called Unix timestamp. This function right here extracts the Unix timestamp, from that binary number. So all this jazz right here does, it converts to a string this big integer. So it converts it to a string, then it grabs the first 41 character slice from that string, and then it grabs the timestamp from that, and it returns the timestamp. Okay, that's over my head too, so don't worry. Thank you, Ollie, for figuring that one out for us. And there was a couple other web apps that did the same type of thing. I'm not going into how the Unix timestamps work because the next function is the same stuff. Unix timestamp to human date. So it takes that timestamp, then it makes a date object, which we can parse through Google Sheets and return in the form we want. So it's creating a date object. Then it's getting this human date format and returning that. Finally, I added this function, userTimeZone. This is grabbing the userTimeZone in the spreadsheet we're using. So over here in our spreadsheet, you can go down to settings and you can see that I'm in Eastern time zone. So whatever time zone the user has set, this is going to return that time zone. And then the meat and potatoes, everything is used down here in the main function. This is the getDate function that you can see right up here in our menu is what's run when we select this custom find date from our menu. And the getDate function first runs the post ID and saves that in this constant. Then it runs the extract Unix timestamp and saves it in this constant. And it's using that post ID. Then it runs the Unix timestamp to human date function using the Unix timestamp. Then it runs the current, or it gets the current time zone by running the function I made, this userTimeZone function. And finally, we convert it to a format that's readable, the format I wanted this to be in, by using utilities, format date. That's just built in to Google Sheets, or to the app's script rather. And we're taking that human date format, we're taking the current time zone from our sheet, and then we're formatting it in this way. So this is like a simple, I forget what they call this, a simple date format that we can use here. If we used, for instance, capital H's, we would be using military time. If we used the letter Z over here, that would be giving us the universal offset instead of what I want, which is for it to just say regular time zone, standard time, non-military, and the AA indicates whether it's PM or AM. And down here at the bottom, once we've got the date and the format we want, then we're just using getRange by name again, and we're setting the value of this post date range, which is this cell B2. Again, it's just easier to reference that way. We're setting the value to the date. If you're building a repository of creators on LinkedIn to follow, this is going to be especially useful for you when you're first trying to figure out, hey, when are these guys and gals posting so that I can follow them? And not to mention, it's just a neat little function that we can do over in Google Sheets. I love making custom utilities like this that are just usable inside of a sheet. If this was useful for you, I got more where this came from. You can grab this sheet in the comments and the link in the comments below, or the description rather, as well as a link to my free newsletter where I put out weekly content, tips, tricks, tutorials, project-based, real-world-based stuff like this every week. Hope you'll join us over there. Hope you have a great day now, and we'll talk to you later.